Hi, my name is Kevin McDonald, and I'm declaring my independence. Independence from what? Why, negative thoughts and energy, of course. Chief among them, hate, division, and fear. You see, I know that we're all one, and together we can solve any problem, save our planet and each other. Please, join me as we come together as one and choose a better way to be. So now, let's begin with my independence report. Friday, the 26th of February. My gosh, how time is flying. I hope you're having a good day, everyone, wherever you are worldwide, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this later on. You need to watch this. I've got a wonderful guest for the entire hour, or as long as it lasts, as long as she puts up with me. And her name is Denise Byers, and she's got several books out there. She's got a children's book, and she's got a coloring book it's actually for adults, and we'll need to talk a little bit about those two books. But I want to focus in on the latest book that she's done, and it's called Shattered, and it's kind of an autobiography of her life and what has gone on with her as far as mental illness goes for her entire life. And it's interesting that mental illness is now she's in Canada, and Canada's actually has what's called like a health care system, which we down here in the great US of A we're still dragging our feet on figuring out how to do it. So she's gotten and I want to ask her about the healthcare system as far as mental health in Canada, because right down here it's non-existent. It doesn't exist. Nobody is taking care of anybody, and people are just being left to be out on the streets. They can't get help. It really is a sad situation down here. So we're going to talk about that. And first of all, I'd like to welcome Denise Byers to the show. Denise, how are you?
So much. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing awesome, thank you.
Excellent.
I get the biggest kick out of talking to people like you.
That's okay.
That have been working so hard to do stuff. You've experienced things in life that I've never had to worry about or come across. And in the book Shattered, you share that with. And before we started this, I said, well, Denise, is there any place that you don't want to go? And she said, no, I've opened my heart up to and my soul up to this book because you want to help people.
Yes.
And, get people to understand that there is help available for them if they can understand it. So let's talk about, I know it's not your favorite subject, but let's talk about you.
It's not my favorite subject, but I know I have to do it.
Yeah. So when did all this begin for you? When did the mental health challenges rear their head, and how old were you?
I would say I was a young teenager when it hit me. And I actually had my first suicide attempt at 15. It was botched by my grandmother and my great-grandmother, who knocked pills out of my hands, which happened to be nitroglycerin, so I'm kind of glad they did that. But, our mental health care system is good, but it's not as great as what everyone thinks. And even our whole entire healthcare system is not as great as you think. There's a lot of challenges in getting help, and it took me a really, really long time. So I see a psychiatrist now because I did try to commit suicide in 2007, and I did basically die, and they brought me back. And it's been a struggle ever since, but I see a psychiatrist, and I've got a really good meditation. I do really good meditations, actually, but I have a really good medication cocktail that helps me with depression, anxiety, and mood swings. And that keeps me pretty level, and it keeps me productive so I can do stuff. But I can't hold down like a normal full-time job anymore. So I just decided to start publishing my writing that I've had for the 40 years. And Shattered, there's poems that I wrote 40 years ago, seriously. Like the poem Loneliness, I remember writing when I was 16, and it's in the book because it still applies. It applies to people. And during the pandemic, people are really struggling. Like anxiety is up, suicide rates are up, depression is up. I mean, when I started on this journey of this book, it was 1 in 5 North Americans would experience mental health. That has changed so much. That number has risen. But I can't even quote it because it rises every day. I don't think the statisticians, I can't even pronounce the word, statisticians, I don't think they can keep up, really.
No.
It's been tough. It's been tough. But I'm hoping my book, I don't know, makes people feel understood, and maybe that will make them feel empowered, and maybe that'll help them start them on their journey of health recovery. And also, maybe they've already been on that journey and it's something they can add to what I call their mental health toolkit. Mine is medication, talk therapy. You know, I reread my own book and I say to myself when I'm really down, I go, geez, Denise, I mean, if you could get through all that, these 52 poems, if you can get through all that, certainly you can get through today. And that's how, I just do it. And the poetry book, I think, is a good way of telling my story because you can take it in little bites. You can read one poem or 2 poems. They all tell their own individual story, but when you read it from cover to cover with the flow, it tells you my whole journey.
So
So
these were poems that basically over the 40 years that they've been written, you were sitting on your bed with a paper and pen and were just writing. And
yes.
writing your feelings and writing what was going on in your life and how things were bad or were good or whatever.
Mhm.
Now, were you bipolar? What have you?
No, I'm not bipolar actually. I have clinical depression. I have an anxiety disorder, and I was having some bad mood swings. So not really bipolar, but I would say close to it. You know what I mean? I'm close to that borderline. I don't have a problem admitting that, but so far my doctor hasn't diagnosed me as that. Just depressed anxiety, and these mood stabilizers really stabilize my anxiety. And so that kind of keeps me level. And that's all I want because mental illness, I don't like even the word mental illness because it implies that there's something wrong with you intellectually or like brain damage wise. This is a physical injury. This is a brain chemistry that is not level, and it needs to be leveled because I don't have enough, say it's serotonin. I don't know what I'm lacking, but you know what I mean? Like they'll give you medication that gives me those chemicals that normal people, quote unquote normal people, who's really normal and how do you define normal, right? But
Right.
other people don't have to take all these things and do all that stuff to have their chemistry leveled, but I do. And I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not
Well,
ashamed of it.
when you put it into that context, it's not a stigma like leprosy or something like that.
Yes. Thank you.
Because you're
You
not,
can touch me. I'm okay.
and you can be around you, and it is just a chemical imbalance. Now,
Yes.
it used to be that people didn't understand what that meant, a chemical imbalance. Now we're getting the idea that it affects the brain chemistry of the balance of everything, affects that, and that's not something that you can control.
Correct.
It's not something that you did. It's
Correct.
it's not something that somebody did to you. It's just how your brain functioned. Now,
Yeah.
did you also have difficulties in your childhood with abuse or
Yes,
that
I
sort of
did.
thing?
I was going to touch on that. I also have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. In my childhood, I was around 7, and I was sexually abused by not a biological family member. I was adopted by my dad. My mom's biological daughter, but my dad adopted me, and one of his younger brothers molested me basically, but I didn't know it was wrong. It didn't hurt. It was nothing that my parents taught me to avoid, even though they did their best. So, but I've really recovered from that. I did that in 2007 because you know what? I repressed that memory. And I was 7 years old. So that's like almost 50 years ago. I repressed it. And then in 2007, it felt like a refrigerated transport just rear-ended me, and my life was in that truck, that 18-wheeler, and everything just hit me at one time, and I just crashed. I also have chronic pain in the form of I have rheumatoid arthritis, which I've had all my life, not a big deal. But I have chronic daily migraines. I have one right now. I have them all the time. We don't know what it is. The doctors think it's brainstem damage and it can't be cured or treated. So I really suffer from pain, and that leads to depression and anxiety and all those fun things that I have to deal with. So I think that affects my brain chemistry levels. Also, I was in a very violent relationship in my late teens, like hanging me over a balcony with my 9-month-old, 15-floor balcony with my 9-month-old in my hands, yelling, "Someone call the police, please." And when they did, the police came and they wanted to arrest me because the house was a mess. And I'm like, he just tore my house up. He broke in, you fools. And then when they wouldn't arrest him, they dropped him off at a strip club. I'm like, are you kidding me? You want to arrest me and you're going to take this loser to a strip club? But that really, really affected me. And that was 40 years ago. And I'm still dealing with that. I have a lifetime restraining order against this person, and they don't just give those out like candy. Like, this guy cannot come near me or my kids. But he did stalk me for 10 years. So it's been a rough road, but you know what?
Good.
Don't
Good.
focus on it.
Well,
I know. It sounds like unbelievable, but you know what? I know I'm a writer, but I could not make this up.
I know it sounds like a bad country music song.
Yeah, you know what? I've written a few of those, but yeah, you're right. Mr. Right and Mr. Right now. He was not Mr. Right. But I was able to marry the man of my dreams, the love of my life, and we're divorced now, but we're still friends. He's a wonderful man, and he supports me in everything I do, and he supports the kids. So that's all I can ask for.
That's it. That's it.
Especially from a former husband. I mean, that's I'm really unheard of. I have my mom, who's a terrific support system, and my sister, and my kids, and I'd say my biggest support system. And that's who I feel really bad about doing what I was doing, and that's what finally stopped me, because my elder son, who's my middle child, said, "Mom, you gotta stop doing this. We can't have ambulances come into the house every couple of months. Like, this is, neighbors are gonna talk, and I said, "Oh," and it really snapped me into reality, because he said it in such a respectful way. So that really that really helped me on my road to recovery. Really helped me, because he told me his feelings.
Well, I'm glad he did, and he stopped you from. Well, he didn't stop you, but after 2007, after the suicide attempt, was that pills again?
Yes, yeah. I'd rather not say what, but yeah.
Yeah.
It was prescribed to me years ago. They were old pills. I don't take them anymore or anything like that. And obviously, I didn't take a lot of them when I had them, because I had lots of left over to try and OD on. But that's I won't do it again. And I know that in my soul. I know that in my soul, because not only my middle son came to me, all of my kids did. And my youngest son left his apartment and came here, and my daughter and he took turns watching me, sitting on the edge of my bed or sleeping beside me or something, just to make sure I wasn't sneaking up there and trying to drink rat poison or something. But I'm grateful for it, because not everybody has that.
No, absolutely, because now I've been party to at least two different suicides. Probably, well, there's been more, but people that have actually carried out. Fortunately, you didn't have a gun, because that's a little bit more efficient.
My stepfather killed himself with a shotgun.
Yeah,
and that was 25 years ago, and he and I were not particularly close, but I don't wish that on anybody. But my mother, it was brutal, and all I wanted to do was help her through it. And it's hard to help someone through that. It's like you said, I'm lucky I didn't have a gun. I always say I'm lucky I live in Canada, because we have gun control. Because if I could get a gun, when I was unstable, if I could have gotten a gun, I would have done it. And there's no return from that.
Nope.
You can't go to the hospital and drink activated charcoal, which is what they do when you overdose. So, because the charcoal absorbs the medication that you took or whatever. So yeah, you use a gun. It's not a cry for help.
Nope.
You're doing it.
When the gentleman put the barrel of the gun underneath his chin and pulled the trigger.
Oh my God, same thing happened in our family. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That just shocked me.
Yeah, no, and it was fortunately it was dark outside. He was outside, and I was standing right there. It was dark, but
You were
it,
right there?
I was 10 feet away from him when
Oh,
he.
Kevin, I'm so sorry.
But fortunately, I didn't know him well. But at the same time, the reality of what happened to his family, which is what I wanted to touch on with you, was,
Mhm.
and I'm glad your kids came to you and worked you through it, because the tragedy of his life was that he thought nobody cared and nobody loved him.
That's how I felt and feel still some to this day. I also feel like a very big burden, especially on my daughter, my slash business partner who lives with me because it's just cheaper. Um, but I feel like a very giant burden on my kids, especially my daughter Danielle, and I hate it. I just hate it. I used to be like this really like you say Wall Street girl. I wouldn't in Toronto. It's Bay Street, our finance. Like I was a real Bay Street girl. I had this communications career and six figures and blah blah, and I was all dashed by mental illness because mental illness doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care what you've got going on. That you're busy, too busy for this nonsense. Doesn't care if you're white or black or brown or yellow or whatever. It doesn't matter what your religion is. It just does. It doesn't matter how rich you are, how poor you are. We've seen a lot of celebrities commit suicide,
Oh
and
yeah.
you're thinking, why? You have all this money, and you can do anything. Why wouldn't you get help? But it's really hard. And especially in the States, as you said, with the mental health care system. I do know a lot of people in the States, and my sister lives actually in Manhattan, and it's really bad down there. Like, I'm really grateful to be up in Canada because at least I'm getting some care where you guys really have to. I mean, I had to wait months and months and months to get a psychiatrist, but you guys down there really suffer. And I've talked to a lot of sufferers on Twitter, and they've told me their stories, and my heart just bleeds. I
Yeah.
just go, can I send you a book? I just want to send you a book. I don't know if it'll help, but it's all I have.
Well, and by the way, we're talking with Denise Byers. She's got the book Shattered out there, and you can pick it up at Amazon, and pretty much all the major players, right? You can pick up the book.
Everywhere books are sold around the globe.
So,
My books are available.
the author is Denise Byers. The book is called Shattered. So make
Here, I'll
sure,
show you a picture of it.
yeah, make sure you,
There we go. That's supposed to be a cartoonish picture of me teetering on a wall because that's what I was doing.
yeah. And
Teetering on a wall.
now there is this gold sticker on that book. What's that gold sticker?
Oh, that's a Book Excellence Award.
Oh, and
Yeah.
where did you get that?
You know what? This book has been out for a couple of years. It's just making a resurgence, I think, because of the pandemic and people really feeling the weight, the anxiety. Couples are staying at home all day, all night for the first time, like 24/7, 365. Don't know how there's not more divorces or murders. I hate to say it, but it's true because there have been some. But yeah, I don't, it's hard to put into words. I'm sorry.
No,
But
no,
the
you're
Book Excellence Award really, really helped me because it told me that, hey, I can write poetry, and I can help people. And my main goal in life is helping people. I was born to be a mother, and I have taken in what I call strays. I'm called, like I'm everyone's other mother in my neighborhood,
well,
you know.
you're doing awesomely well, and
Thank you so much.
I
I
think
really appreciate that.
it's really great that you
Thank
are,
you.
and especially since I'm glad you didn't get it done because your
Me too.
kid. How many do you have? Three?
I have 3, yes. They're all grown.
Yeah,
33, 31, 27.
they're the same age as my kids.
Oh,
So,
really, eh? But they're still your kids, right?
oh yeah,
Like, they're still our children, so as much as we wanna get involved in their lives and tell them what to do and stuff, they just slam the door or hang up the phone. "Oh, my phone's cutting out." I get that all the time.
well,
But
no,
if I call and say, "Danielle, I need you. Matthew, I need you. Michael, I need you." Boom, they're there.
oh yeah,
They're there. Same with my mom. If I say, "Mom, I need you." She doesn't live far away from me. She's 15 minutes away. She just shows up. So I'm blessed, and I choose to see that as a blessing, whereas some people don't. And I have gratitude, and I have gratitude for my chronic pain because I can't work full time, so it forced me to find something I could do at home to earn a living. And this was it. And then I got to live out my passion of writing books. I was like, oh my goodness, this is fantastic. And so I've been blessed. I've been very, very blessed. And I just want other people to be blessed too.
Now, does Canada have a support system for people that are disabled there and are no longer able to work?
Yes, we have a disability program that works a little bit like welfare.
Okay.
So a person on disability here will get an $1,100 check every month from the government. I don't know anybody who can live on $1,100 a month.
Nope.
So, it's ridiculous. And I've been advocating for changes for that for a long time, but it's ridiculous. Especially in the pandemic, you would think they would increase it a little because these people, a lot of the disabilities are mental disabilities, again, with the brain level chemistries. And, like I'm not sleeping. I need a sleeping pill. I've tried all the natural supplements. I go through all the natural stuff before I resort to medication, but I. I just need something different because I feel like I'm slipping a little bit. Not suicidal, but the pandemic's getting to me, you know?
I get it. It's
Yeah.
getting to a lot of folks, and it's not a good place for any of us to be, especially someone that has depression issues and stuff like you do. It's really hard to live your life and to really be out there positive and excited when you just don't feel very good.
It's true, yeah. I mean, I'm not feeling terrific today, but I was so excited when I woke up and I knew I was gonna be doing this today. That just made my day. I was just
So
excited. It was like, "Yay, I can get out of
sometimes
bed today."
well, it's important for you to get out of bed and to do stuff. And I
Oh,
mean, I'm stuck in my house, but that's why I do these every day. I work at it quite a little bit. I was a bus driver for King County Metro. I
oh,
was a city
wow.
bus driver for 11 years, and
Nice.
I did audio production before that, and had a talk show before that.
Oh
But
my goodness.
I am aware of the healthcare system, or the medical healthcare system, excuse me, the mental health care system in our state of Washington, because it is so bad that there are people that they're just suffering and they can't get
Dying.
help, and they're dying.
Yeah.
And that's part of the opiate problem, the opiate crisis,
Mhm.
is they're abusing it and they're going over and above.
And
So
that's affecting me because of my chronic pain, my migraines. Now all of a sudden, no one will prescribe me opioids. And sadly for me, because they don't know what it is, and my specialist is the top migraine specialist in North America, and he doesn't know what the hell to do with me. So, he's just said, told my other doctors, keep her comfortable. But now they're all afraid to prescribe opioids. Even though I've been on them before for years and never had an addiction problem, I've been assessed by many psychiatrists, well, many, 3 or 4 psychiatrists that says I don't have an addictive personality. I just don't. I just, I take something and I don't take it again until I need it type of thing. But the opioids are really the only thing that helped me. And in Canada, they're just so afraid to prescribe because of, you call it a medical board, and here it's the College of Physicians and Surgeons. And doctors are literally afraid of being attacked and having their licenses stripped from them. I get that, but at the same time, what happened to do no harm? Like I need help. I need someone to help me with my pain because a lot of it, most of my like depression, anxiety, and especially the suicidal thoughts come from my pain. That's the real trigger for me. And my pain is triggered by weather changes. Well, hello, I live in Canada. I mean, we only talk about 2 things, poutine and weather.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's hard.
I wanted to talk to you about a third thing that
Okay.
I'm wondering if how it has had an impact in your life, because I'm interested in such things. When you had your um, when you had your attempt in 2007, that was accompanied by what we call a near death experience, or NDE. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, it was really God, It's crazy. I was such a type A personality, and I mean, my doctors told me I wouldn't survive long if I continued that route. So, but I still prepared. I sat in a chair. We were living with my mom at the time, and I sat in a chair and I put a green garbage bag down because I thought, if don't mean to be graphic, but if I die and my bowels come loose, and I thought, if I live and I mess up her chair, she's gonna kill me. So I put a garbage down on. I told my daughter to go upstairs and not to come down no matter what she heard. I put a note on the door and told my sons, don't come in after school, go to this friend's house. I texted my sister, who was living in Montreal at the time, and she caught it the way I talked to her. I didn't finish off with love you, see you later, or, ciao for now, or anything kind of like cute like that. I said, goodbye, Amanda. And I don't say goodbye. And from Montreal, which is 5 hours, 5.5 hour drive from here, she called 911. And I had the fire department, police, paramedics, everybody at my door. And they got me into the ambulance. Yeah,
Let me
it was like
know before.
cavalry came. She probably made it sound, well, it was bad. I mean, I'd taken enough pills at that point to go. So I remember being in the ambulance, then everything went black. And then I remember waking up in the hospital, and I know my mother's sound of her high heels. I grew up with it. And I remember just waking up and going, there's my mommy, like a little kid. It was weird. And then out again I went. And I woke up in a hospital with an oxygen, I was intubated. I woke up with all that. I was handcuffed to my bed so I wouldn't do any more harm. I wouldn't pull out the oxygen and stuff like that. And you'd think that would be scary and terrifying to me, but no, didn't scare me. I tried after that even, didn't scare me, so tough lesson learned. But I was in the psych ward in our local hospital for a good 3 or 4 weeks. And that time I had a psychiatrist who, oh God, he was so great, but he retired. I have a new one who's also really good, but we're getting to know each other more as we go on. And right now we're just doing telephone appointments, so it's a little harder. But I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky. I did that just in 2007. It didn't work. I'm grateful to my sister Amanda. I mean, my God, she saved my life.
Oh yeah. But now, when you were clinically dead, because you were clinically dead for a period of time, is
Yeah,
that?
I don't think it was long, but I don't know. I don't have any memory. I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
see anything either. It was all black. Like people say, oh, you see your life, and
Well,
no.
it depends on how long you're there.
Yeah, and I think I was brought back really quickly.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that, whole life flashing before my eyes kind of feeling.
Now, did your near-death experience, or not your near-death because you don't remember much from it, but did
Sorry.
your no, that's all right. And that's perfectly fine. But your suicide attempts,
Mhm.
did that change your feeling about life and about living?
That's a really tough question because it varies every day. If I'm at an extremely high pain level, like 10 being the worst pain you can possibly imagine, and I've had 3 kids naturally, I'd rather have 3 kids naturally in one day than have someone of those level 10 migraines. So it just depends. It's a really day by day thing. It just really depends how my physical health has been and how it's impacting my mental health. But usually I just get depressed and I get a lot of anxiety, but I don't reach for. I've never tried to commit suicide on the pills that have been prescribed to me by my psychiatrist. Never. I would never abuse those, because if I am brought back to life, they'll never prescribe them to me again. You know what I mean? And I don't want that. So I've never done that. But people can take anything to kill themselves or do anything, guns, knives, all kinds of things. I don't like pain, so my option would be to drink rat poison. But today I don't feel that way, and I haven't felt that way for a number of years, so it's really good. I mean, I have my off days, like I said. It's a day by day thing. It did change my outlook on life a little bit because it impacted my kids, and I saw my kids' eyes, and I heard their voices, and I heard cracking of their voice, or my daughter crying and begging me not to give up. And it's just really tough on them. So that changed me a lot. It was like, I'm doing this not just to me. I'm doing this to 3 kids I brought into the world who I am responsible for, in my opinion, until the day even after I die. I believe in an afterlife. I'll be haunting them, But they're the ones who keep me stable. They keep me feeling loved. They keep me feeling worthy. They keep me feeling like I'm enough, and they keep me feeling it's okay to not be okay. And just by their support and their non-judgmental support, I hear them. I don't hear people who stigmatize me. If they want to start talking about lecturing, I don't hear that. A conversation, I'll hear and I'll participate in, and that's what's pulled me through. More than doctors, more than medication. It's been my family, especially my children.
Why do you think it's happened to you?
You know what? I used to ask myself why that, and then I just said, oh, well, why not? But my maternal grandfather was schizophrenic, and my maternal uncle, who's only 8 years older than me, and I wasn't allowed to call him uncle because he used to get really upset. I'm too young to be an uncle. So he had schizophrenia. He's not on medication for it anymore because he doesn't need it. But my grandfather came back from World War II, a very, very, very violent man. Now, I was born at the end of the baby boomers. I was born in 64. And the story goes is that basically he was out of it, and he kind of threatened to hurt me and whatever. And my mom just told him, you touched my kid and I'll kill you this time. You know what I mean? So after that, there was no violence. So I don't remember a grandfather who was violent. I remember a grandfather who was kind and loving and wonderful to me, you know? So it's tough. It's tough. Your perspective on things change every day. But the schizophrenia, the mental illness is in the family, and it is hereditary. So I figured, you know what? I probably just got it from genetics, and I got to stop saying why me, and same with the pain, and just say why not me. It had to be somebody.
Well,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Apparently God thought it had to be somebody, so he picked me, and I thought, okay, well, I can handle this. I'm strong. I can handle this, until I couldn't. But
right.
now I can again, so we're good.
Well, and I think that oftentimes when we're going through tough times, like you've gone through some really tough times, a
Mhm.
lot of it has to do with the experience that you wanted to give yourself before you came down here. A lot of it has to it's a real complicated issue, and I'm just wish you the best and the best of luck to get through it and to take care of your kids, and your publishing company is going to take off. By the way, let's talk a little bit about that. How do you, if somebody
Um,
has a manuscript that they would like you to look at, how do they do?
Actually, you know what? People have asked me. I've got there's a gentleman named Earl Johnson who basically co-founded Canada's first sort of metal band, hard rock,
Oh yeah,
and he's doing his memoir, and he wants me to edit and publish it. So, but that takes a long time. My daughter is doing one of, like basically act 1 or act 2 of her life. She's 33, so I'll be editing and doing that. I've had to tell other people that we're not accepting submissions just yet, only because right now all we can afford is my daughter and I, and we're not even taking salaries, so it's taking a while. It's like you said, it takes time, it takes a lot of time. No overnight successes. We've been at this for 10 years, and we're going to push forward, and we're going to keep going. And in the next year, I anticipate accepting submissions. And I don't know what my criteria is going to be about. I think it's going to be, do you fit my brand, which is positivity, and love. I don't really want like bad news books, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
no, I'm into helping people and making them feel better. So I will judge a lot of manuscripts on that, even if they're nonfiction, because a lot of them are based on true stories, but they have to be empowering to people and helpful. Definitely helpful.
That is a really cool philosophy to have.
Thank
I
you.
It's very similar to the philosophy that I carry with what I do here.
Oh.
we want to make it as positive as possible, and understand that as an example, someone that's gone through the things that you've gone through, a couple of suicide attempts and migraines. I can't believe that you're sitting here talking to me and you have a migraine right now.
I've had them since 1990. Well, I've had them since I was 12. I'm 56. But they've been constant since 1998. Like, I've never had a break in pain since 1998. I don't have 1 hour that's good. I'm medicated, so I can talk to you. And I did a great meditation this morning, but you have to keep pushing through. And there are days and weeks and months I don't want to push through, and that's when I get suicidal. So I'm trying to avoid all of that and use my sort of toolkit, my books, my people that are supportive, my publicist, Tracy Lamori, who's setting me up with this great interview so I can talk to you about this. I've got a lot of people helping me, and I really appreciate and respect them so much. And I used to feel guilty, but my kids told me to knock it off, and my mom did too. Just stop. You can't help it, that's how we talk around here. It's like, oh, just shut up. So, it's been tough, but at the same time, writing Shattered or creating it, there are a lot of new poems in there as well. It was very cathartic and very healing, very healing. Like, when I read the poems that I wrote, I'm like, did I write this? How the heck did I do all of these stupid things to myself if I wrote this and got through it? So whenever I'm feeling down, my youngest son especially will say, "Mom, read your book, because he loves it. He loves the book. And I will. And I sometimes can't read the whole thing because it's a little too close to home, because it's all about me. So I'll read a poem or two and I'll be like, Denise, you got this. You got this. If you got through this at 15, you got through this at 21, you got whatever, you've got this. And I just have to tell myself that. And my daughter, God bless her, she's taped up affirmations on our bathroom walls. So as you're brushing your teeth, everything's going to be fine. Not everything's going well. Say 3 times to manifest. So I do affirmations, but my big thing is prayer and expressing gratitude to the people around me, and also the people who've passed on, who I believe still live in another realm. That's just my belief system, and no one has to believe that, but it gets me through.
Of course they do. That's and I've talked to in my career. I've talked to maybe, I don't know, 30 or 40 mediums or psychic mediums and stuff, and have been involved in hundreds of readings.
But you know what? I'm a psychic medium too. I just thought I'm not that good yet. I'm only good with family, even distant. But I couldn't read you right now because I'm focused on something else. But yeah, I get spiritual visits, and I predict things like sexes of babies and crazy things. It's just, but it just tells me that spirit is around and loving me, and they're supporting me. And I don't want to disrespect my family that's passed on, who had so much hope for me. I don't want to disappoint them. And when I have almost crossed over, especially in 2007, my grandparents and my great grandparents, who really were influential in raising me, I saw them in spirit, as solid as you are. I saw them. I would have sworn they were in the kitchen. And they just told me, we don't want you to do this, but if you have to, you have to. But I'm really disappointed in you. And I never wanted to hear that from my grandmother, because she is just a saint on earth. And I did everything in my life that I could to please her. So knocked some sense into me, I got to tell you. Knocked some sense into me. And then the next day I went to the hospital for help.
It sounds to me like you're doing everything right. The affirmations is a great idea. Your daughter, I'd love to talk to her, because
she's amazing.
Because that's really cool. And the talking to your grandparents is really cool. The fact of the matter is, see, this is what I truly know and I believe, is that everyone that has passed that is around you, all of your guides, they are rallying around you like no other, because You are, how do I put this? Well, first of all, you're special.
Thank
Second,
you.
secondly, that book that you've written is going to find its way into somebody's hand and it's going to save a life.
Yes, and thank you for saying that because I've actually received mail that has people have told me you helped save my life. And some people have said you saved my life. I don't like that. I know I didn't one-handedly save someone's life who's in like Wisconsin or something, or in Saskatoon in Canada. I know I didn't. They had other support, but just to know that my book was part of their mental health toolkit and it helped them change their minds about doing it makes me feel so happy. And also, a lot of people have told me, you know what, I'm going to go see a psychiatrist now, or a psychologist, or a social worker, but I'm going to get some therapy because your book, it really encouraged me because I don't feel the stigma from you, and you were, people call me brave. I don't know how brave I was, but I was honest. And it's not always, honesty is not always pretty. But most of the poems do have a positive message in them. Like, keep the faith, because you know what? If I can get through this, anyone can get through this.
I'm not going to say that because I don't believe that for a
Well,
minute.
that's true. You're right, because there's still people, who are
No, you're the
hurting
one.
themselves. And
No, what I mean by that is that when you said if you can get through it, anybody can get through it. You're one tough lady. I got to.
oh my God, thank you. I haven't heard that in a long time, and I used to be really, really tough before 2007 breakdown. So I'm glad to hear that you observed that, because to me, that's a health check for me. And I appreciate you saying that to me because it validates what I've been trying to do. Be strong. And so thank you. That's the best compliment I could ever receive. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Well, and if people could just understand, see, you are one of those. You're one of those people. When people go, I've got this problem, I got this problem. Well, she had that and she survived it. She had that and it was worse than what you got, and she survived it. She has now. I have rheumatoid arthritis as well, or a
Ugh,
form of it. So I know where you were when you're talking about some pain, but it's inconsequential. Doesn't matter. But you're in pain every day, and you still wrote a book that can help people, and all they have to do is pick it up and read it.
yeah.
This is what I'm going to suggest right now. Go ahead and hold the book up one more time.
Okay.
And that
Yes,
is,
sir.
I'm going to suggest if you know somebody, and the book's called Shattered, and it's
Oops,
50
wrong way.
poems. It's
52 poems. Yep.
52 poems long, and it's a 40-year journey, an odyssey from when she was a little girl till now, and all of the things that she had to deal with. If you know somebody who is fighting depression, if you know somebody who's bipolar, if you know somebody that's contemplating suicide, get this book, get this book to them so that they can have a reference point that there can be a tomorrow if you allow
Yes.
there to be a tomorrow.
hmm And this book won a Book Excellence Award as well. And it has a 5-star rating on Amazon. And people can read the reviews, they're rave reviews. One of Amazon's top reviewers, out of 10,000 reviewers in the United States, he's on number 129. And he gave me an amazing review. And it was like, oh, holy moly, that was like, wow, thank you. Like, I really touched him. And his name is Cyrus Webb, and he has his own show and radio show called Conversations Live. And we talked about the book when it first came out. We did an interview. But like I said, there's been a resurgence in interest in the book because the pandemic, and people are really struggling. People who've never struggled with, like, my former husband, was saying, like, I feel tingly and I'm anxious and my heart's pounding and I feel like I'm having a heart attack and stuff like that. And I'm like, relax, it's a panic attack. It's a panic attack. Unless you get further symptoms, then call me. But yeah, it's a tough one. It's a
Well,
tough one. A lot of people don't like to take medication and stuff, so it's even tougher on them. So I hope that the book, if they don't take medication, maybe the book might encourage them to, or maybe the book might be the same as medication to them. Maybe it's going to be like a healing manual. I don't know. I don't know. It's also, like you said before, it's all subjective. Everyone feels differently about different stuff.
but the thing is that people, I firmly believe well, let me take that back. I know for a fact that our guides and angels bring things and people to us when we need them, and resources to us when we have to have them. And that's why people like you who put a book like that together should be really rewarded for it, because you can now help somebody else survive the trial of their life and know that there's a better way and there's
Thank
another
you.
day.
Thank you for saying that, because that's my goal for the book. I've given away more books than I've sold, because people need them. And like I said, a lot of people are on disability. They don't even have $20 to buy a book that might help them. So when I see someone like that, like someone's, like reaching out on social media, you'll see those posts, right? Like, I'm not doing well. I'm gonna take my life. Da da da. I'll just connect with them and say, listen, if you here's my email address, or email me, give me a shipping address, and I'll send you a free book, and hopefully it'll help you like it helped me, and it's helped others. So that's the main goal of the book, and the main goal of my life: help people, because no one goes through this life alone, not really, especially if you believe in spirituality and whatnot. It's you're not alone. There are other people like us out there, and we can reach out and connect with the people and hear their stories, like your story, and you know and it helps. It's a community, and it does help.
We've all got our own stories, and we can survive, in a positive way, or we can just sit there and go down the toilet.
Mm.
And we have the opportunity to change that. And I talk about it a lot, is that we've got our team. We've got a group of folks on the other side that are in spirit, that are interested in making sure that we do what we came here to do. And I'm telling you, one of the reasons why you've gone through what you've gone through is to write this book, because
I believe that.
it can't be necessarily done. Sadly, it can't be done any other way. You have to experience the shit, excuse the expression.
Oh, please. I'm like a drunken sailor on a shore leave if I'm not doing an interview. My mother one time bought me a bar of soap for Christmas and said, a boatload of drunken sailors told me you needed this. Sense of humor is also a coping mechanism, and it's a
Sure it is.
tool. It feels lovely and wonderful to laugh, and your levels will rise if you're laughing more, or you're doing something that you're passionate about, whether it's listening to music. I like to do. I love to dance. I hate not being able to go to the bars and dance to live music, but I do it in my living room, and I don't have to do my hair and makeup to do that, so that's good. So there's just different coping mechanisms for everybody, and we all got to find what works for us. And like I have, like I said, a number of completely different things in my toolkit. I got a doctor, I got medication, I've got family, I've got my talent and my ability to write and communicate to people. And I think most people, if they really, really try, they can find that too. Instead of chasing a paycheck, maybe because of the pandemic, they're locked down and whatnot, maybe we can use this as an opportunity to chase a dream instead of a paycheck. And that's what I did when I couldn't work anymore. It was probably about a year before I realized, well, I was journaling anyway. And I don't know why this book came out in poetry. Like, I told my story through poetry. I have no idea why. I feel like Dr. Seuss. I just want to keep rhyming all the time. And I have more poems. I'm going to come out with another poetry book after I'm done, like sort of the virtual media tour for Shattered. Just about love, loss, grief, heartache, things like that. Again, trying to help people, just trying to help you get it through, because I've been there and it's tough. And it's tough to be alone. And I want people to know, as long as they've got me, they're not alone. In the book, at the back, is my personal email address. Email me. I'm not a healthcare professional, but I might be able to guide you to one. And there's also a list of international help and crisis lines in the back of the book as well. So if you live in Ireland and you're feeling like you're not going to be able to make it, like you're gonna hurt yourself or kill yourself, look in the back of that book and get a number and call and say, I need help, and I'm not ashamed to ask, because it's gonna mean the world to somebody. It's gonna be you mean the world to somebody. So people have to start getting, and this is me included, so I'm not trying to chastise or lecture, but we have to get into the driver's seat of our own lives. We cannot let mental illness dictate what we do. We cannot let other people dictate what we do. We need to remove negative people from our lives, negative situations. If you're in a bad job and you have to quit, I mean, obviously find another one first, but get the heck out of there as soon as possible, right? So, everyone reacts differently. But for me, it was an opportunity to be able to write. So it was bittersweet, not being able to work and be a government lobbyist anymore. And, but I lived out my dream of writing books. So it worked out.
I believe that there's another book in your future.
Oh yeah.
And
There's a few. There's
gonna
going to be one that's going to be more about my grandmother's story. And, because she has a very interesting story. And before she died, she asked me if I would write the book, and I told her I would. I just haven't been able to get into that headspace because there was a lot of abuse in her life. And it's triggering, I got to tell you. It's triggering. So I've just been sort of writing slowly in a journal, and that will come into fruition as a book one day. And and in the meantime, while I'm working on that, like I said, I'll put out another poetry book and just trying to help people through grief and loss and love and heartache. And as they're reading that book, I'll be working on that other book, the nonfiction about my grandmother, or a fiction based on her. It might be safer because there are some people alive that I can't really say stuff about.
There is that.
I don't want backlash from my own family, for crying out loud. I get enough. I had one hater already. I said to my daughter, Danielle, I've arrived. I have a hater. Oh,
By
gosh.
the way, we've been talking with Denise Byers. Go to Amazon, get her book. It's called Shattered. If somebody needs some help, if you need to help a
That's right
family
there.
member, a friend, yourself, somebody that really needs to do that, get the book. I'm very impressed with you, young lady. Can we
Thank you. Oh my God, young lady, I love you forever now. You're my new best friend.
that's right. You were born in the 60s. I was born in the 50s. So
I just told you, the whole world my own age right now. A lady never tells. Don't call me lady. I'm a woman.
And hear you roar, you are strong.
You know what? I sing that song a lot to myself as an affirmation. Just the hook. I am a woman, hear me roar, and numbers too loud to ignore. I do that. It's one of my affirmations.
Good for you. Good for you.
Thank you.
And we keep track of you?
Our website is under construction. It will be Dandee, so DANDEE, Lion, publishing.com. But for now, we're using Facebook as a landing page and Instagram. So we're on Facebook. You just go onto Facebook and you search Dandelion Publishing, and you'll be brought to our page. And on all other social media, it's the @ at Dandelion1. All one.
I'm talking about, I want my independence report to keep following you, and we're going to have you back on.
Oh, I'd love that. I would love that. Yeah, I mean, I really would. I mean, the more I can spread the word, the happier I'm going to be. And who knows, I might have more to talk about the next time we chat. Who knows? We don't know what life's going to bring. We're not promised tomorrow, so I'm trying to live each day like it's, the first day of the rest of my life. And I take what comes, and I just push through.
You've been doing a lot of work on yourself and a lot of reading and a lot of positive things. I think you need to write a book about that.
That's actually a really good idea. Thank you. People have told me to write a parenting book, but I've forgotten all the things I did other than threaten them and throw slippers at them. But thank you for saying that, and that's a really good idea. Maybe I should write a book about it's kind of like a how-to, right?
Well, your autobiography or your biography would be. And by the way, I'm getting chills when this. That means
Oh, that's validation.
it is validation. So it would be a biography of you from your life, what's happened, and how you've pulled through it, and that you're using affirmations, you're using meditation, you're using positive things to live your life every day the way that it can be lived, even though every day you're in pain. You,
Yes.
you have got, if there of nobody on the planet that I've met, you've got just as much reason to shut it down as anybody I've ever met, and you won't, because you can't, because you've been brought here to help people. That's
Yes.
why
I
you're here.
understand that's my purpose. When I was a child, people said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" A mother, and I want to write children's books. And
And
look what happened. I wrote Princess Lydia and the Fire-Breathing Dragon in an hour, and it won a Character Building Counts Award for all of its empowering messages. It took me an hour to write it. It was the illustrations that took long because kids were not responding to the graphic art. They were like, I saw that before." But
right,
my daughter I said, "Just draw it." And then she was drawing, and that was still kind of sophisticated for them. She's an artist. So I said, "Danielle, please just pretend you're 7 years old and draw like that." And now kids really like it. I get pictures sent to me and stuff like, "Look, Denise, I drew the dragon." And that just makes me feel so good. And parents tell me all the time that, the anti-bullying messages and stuff have really helped them and their children. And in terms of Shattered, I'm glad you said that it's not just for people suffering. It's also for their caregivers and their loved ones, because
sure.
the book creates, I believe anyway, at least it was my goal, and I think I achieved it, but it creates understanding, or at least a place where we can start to understand. Maybe it'll motivate us to do work on ourselves or read about things so you can help your loved one who's suffering, etc.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
Thank you.
Denise, we've come to the end of our time together.
Yeah, it's so fast. Oh my gosh,
I
Kevin.
know.
I have to come back.
I will. We need to have you back because I want to keep tabs on you,
Thank you.
to make sure that the things are moving ahead. I want to give you a moment, like I do everyone,
Mhm.
to talk to the audience and tell them anything that you'd like.
Would you mind if I just read what I told my children? A poem that I told my children?
I'd be honored.
Okay. It's called Dear Children. In my darkest times of need, you've always been there, giving me support, showing how much you care. I want to thank you for this gift so priceless. I know it's been hard. I'm not always the nicest. When I call out your name, you always show up. You never let me down. You're never harsh or abrupt. Your compassion and patience has kept me afloat. I wish I could give you more than this thank you note. Please accept this small token of my immense gratitude for everything you are and everything you do. If there's ever a day I can do the same for you, just call out my name. I'll be there for you too. With eternal love, you help my heart sing. You've given me wings. And that's it. So let me just repeat that. With eternal love, you help my heart sing. I'm ready to soar. You've given me wings. So that was for my kids, and just kind of an apology for putting them through that. And I dedicated the book to my mother, and I wrote something for her as well. But do we have time for me to read it, or
Sure.
sure? Okay.
This
Um,
America, we can do anything we like.
I love it. Thank you. God, you're fun. I like you. This one is the dedication to my mom, whose name is Elizabeth. This book is dedicated to my mother, Liz Byers, for her unwavering support, indescribable patience, and steadfast love. And this was called My Guardian Earth Angel. There are angels that walk among us. Some carry us through the most difficult parts of our journey. It's so hard to believe that someone can have the strength that you so desperately need, yet so disappointingly lack. Thank you for keeping me safe in the folds of your beautiful wings and not letting me fall. Most of all, I thank you for reminding me that strong or weak, I am always loved. I promise when I am the strong one and you need to be carried, I will bring out my wings and whisk you away to where and how you need to be, safe and happy. Mother, you are my angel, and I am yours if you'll have me. Love, Denise. So that was just my way of kind of thanking them for putting up with my shenanigans.
Well, that's part of life, and the thing that I know that I can count that they would say this as well is that even though there have been some challenges, you're still here, and they appreciate that every day.
Thank you so much for saying that. I do feel their appreciation, and that's something I pray about. I send a gratitude prayer to God, thanking Him for, you asked me earlier, why me? I don't care why me. I just care about my family and help and, and doing whatever I need to do for them. So, yeah, it's the most important thing.
That makes you very special.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your kind words, Kevin.
Well, we're gonna stay in touch with you because
Thank you.
I sense that there's gonna be more work to do. By the way, if you know anybody that wants to do an audio book, I do those as well.
Oh, do you really? Because I do want that. So we'll be in touch. If you don't mind, that'd be great.
Not a bit.
I love that.
I've been told I have a voice to make it work.
Yeah, you have a beautiful voice. Absolutely. Yeah, you could pull off the book. I'd like to. I want to hear you be the dragon. You've got the voice. I want to hear you. I'll use my anger and steam out of my ears or fire out of my mouth.
Was he smart? Give me his.
I can't tell you everything, especially his name, because that's a little funny thing for parents at the end. What the name
no,
turns out to
his
be.
Personality. Is he smart? Is he?
He is a very intelligent dragon. He is a very misunderstood guy. He blows fire because he's scared, not because he's a bully. And if someone wields a sword at him, he's going to blow fire. And we get into it when the princess finally gets to where her friend, the prince, is being held. She wanted to talk to the dragon first, and she wanted to understand his point of view. Like, hey, why did you pull this sword on my friend? Well, I mean, why did you breathe fire on my friend? Well, he waved a sword at me. First of all, she's like, hold it. Dragons can talk. So, and the dragon is married and has children. And the kingdom, I use, different things like ladybugs and butterflies and stuff to depict different races and belief systems and stuff, because I want to show that everybody is accepted. Okay. While the call for tolerant is very, very valiant, I truly believe it's acceptance that's going to get us to peace. And until we accept each other and stop judging, I mean, just judge what is it? Whatever, don't judge yourself or others will judge you. But that's, I want to end the stigma, and I want people to be able to reach out and get the help they need. But the dragon teaches us a few things. It's kind of cool.
The darn thing of this whole interview is that it's been like an onion. We keep on coming up with keep on coming up with a new layer of you, of the things that you at the beginning. It was that one layer, and now you are truly magnificent at what you do.
Oh my God, thank you. I think you're being overly kind and very generous, but I'll take it.
No, if somebody who listens to you who understands that what you're about and what you're after, that's why. Okay, that's why you're not allowed to leave.
Okay, I promise you I won't.
So there.
I promised my kids, I promised my mom, not going anywhere. They're stuck with me for probably 30 years, poor suckers.
And the whole reason is because the vibration that we are entering into in mankind is going up, and it
It
needs
is.
people like you and me and
Mhm.
others among us that can keep that. See, my entire mission is to bring people like you to the forefront, for people to listen to people like you.
Thank
Uh,
you so much.
that's what I do, and so that's what makes it fun for me. But if you want me to be a dragon, no, the dragon he's
Yeah,
got.
it'd be fun. I think it'd be awesome.
I have to come up with figure out the type of voice for him.
Yeah,
So
we'll figure it out, and I'm not ready to do it yet, but, once like I said, once this is done, like, I've had so many podcasts booked and stuff right into May. As soon as I'm done promoting this book, yeah, we'll talk about that because that sounds really exciting to me.
well, and just remember when you're doing all these other podcasts,
Mhm.
that My Independence Report is the best podcast on the planet.
It
And
absolutely is, and you know what? I try to treat every podcast differently and bring new messages into everyone. So this interview is not a duplication of anything I've ever done before. These were all new messages I gave you that some people have not heard me say in the other podcasts. I try to keep them all unique.
that's very nice. It's very good of you to
Thank
do that. But it's up to us to get the information out of you and to send it to other folks.
That's right, and I hope you do. I
Oh,
hope you do. Thank you so much.
we're out there. We're 200, and you're the 213th episode,
Holy moly, that's a lot. Congratulations. Wow.
and I'm crossing
That's oof.
18,000 downloads today or tomorrow.
Oh my
Mm.
gosh, that is amazing. Congratulations.
Not counting YouTube, which is another 4,000.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
we're on YouTube too. Yeah, I forgot about that. But that's crazy. That's fantastic for you.
and only in a year and a half. So,
Wow.
and started from zero. Um,
Wow.
and didn't have my Facebook page is not a contributor. I've only got 200 friends because I don't have friends. And anyway, but it's great. It's great fun. I love talking to people like you. I love supporting people like you
Thank you.
because you are the people that are going to change the planet.
Oh my God, that means so much to me. You have no idea. Biggest compliment you could have given me. Thank you. Thank you
It's
so
not.
much.
It's not a compliment. That is reality, my friend.
Thank
That's
you. I feel it too, but it's really nice to hear someone else say it, especially someone who doesn't know me well and isn't in my family or circle of friends, because sometimes you feel like they're there, it's all going to be okay. The angels are going to come, a spirit guide's going to come. And I do believe all that, but I don't need a pat on the head. You know what I mean? I really like the way you put it a lot better than a lot of people.
they're there for you. They're there because
That's why I don't criticize them because they're there for me. So what am I supposed to say? Like, don't say that or don't do that? No. I'm just great. I just want to pick out the positive of everything and just have that kind of attitude.
Well, I hope your headache feels better
Thank you.
and stuff. And there's a little closing that I need to do, and then
Okay.
don't go anywhere. I'll be
Nope.
right back.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, and thanks for listening to this episode all the way to the end. Hey, pretty cool. Hey, don't forget to follow us so you can receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other because each other's all we've got. See you next time on My Independence Report.